Let's get into some latest news and rumors around the Boston Celtics now. According to reports, the Celtics interested in Nikola Vucevic. That's something that we've covered ad nauseum here at Chat Sports. Also, reports indicate that the Celtics could possibly looking into the most improved player of the year candidate, Jerami Grant, whose game has just gotten so great over the last couple of years. It's been a great developmental story. And the big thing to monitor with the Boston Celtics is this. It's that trade exception. It's worth $28.5 million. Basically, to break that all down for you and to simplify it, the Celtics can bring in a marquee player and absorb their salary because of that $28.5 million trade exception. Let's look at some more potential players in addition to Vucevic, in addition to Jerami Grant, that the Celtics could possibly target with the trade deadline a little more than 2 weeks away. How about Harrison Barnes? Really intriguing player. It feels as though he's on that Perry Ellis flow, like he's been in the league for decades. He's only 28 years old. And according to Brian Scalabrine of NBC Sports Boston, Scalabrine, of course, was with the Celtics when they won that championship with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Scalabrine says the Celtics want Harrison Barnes. That's of note because he is plugged into that organization. He also thinks that Boston thinks that Harrison Barnes can come in there and really make a difference. Currently, Barnes is making $22+ million. He's still got a couple years left on his contract, so it's not like it would be a one and done for Boston. And looking at Harrison Barnes' numbers, this is why I like the potential of Harrison Barnes coming to the Celtics, because this is a guy who can really do it all, averaging a little less than 17 points per game, and he can just kind of fill up the stat sheet in a variety of ways. He can rebound the basketball. He's shooting nearly 50% from the floor. And as a guy who can spread the floor as well, Harrison Barnes is knocking down three-pointers at a 39% clip. So you put him next to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if Kemba Walker maybe fixes that knee and he gets healthier and healthier, Harrison Barnes would be able to come into Boston and really be a premier player for the Boston Celtics as they try to make a run for a playoff spot. What's your interest level in Harrison Barnes? For me, it's close to a 10, but I want you to hop into the comments section and I want you to scale it from 1 to 10. I made my opinion known. For me, Harrison Barnes, his pedigree is really appealing. Only 28 years old, won a championship with the Golden State Warriors in 2015. Go on to Google Basketball Reference, look at Harrison Barnes' numbers. I got to tell you, Harrison Barnes has been underrated. Now, coming out of North Carolina, a lot of people were expecting him to possibly be a 20-7 guy, a 25-7 guy. He hasn't necessarily been that, but think about his surroundings a little bit, right? He goes on to a loaded Golden State Warriors team. He was on some of the most successful teams in NBA history, and he was a valuable piece to those Warriors teams. And we look at the offensive numbers. Harrison Barnes can get it done on the offensive end of the floor. Also a really good defender too. And the valuable part and component about this potential trade is the fact that Harrison Barnes is going to be on this roster for a little bit. So let's move forward with another trade idea. This coming from The Athletic as we move on from Harrison Barnes. So The Athletic proposed this trade idea. The Celtics would receive Mason Plumlee, giving the Celtics bench options at the forward and center spot, and depth there as well. They'd also receive Wayne Ellington in exchange for Tristan Thompson, Javonte Green, and a 2022 first-round pick. Kind of an interesting trade, not something that's just going to make you very, very excited, right? But when you look at the needs for the Boston Celtics, it's front court depth and it's shooting. Mason Plumlee would be able to give the Celtics that. From a front court perspective, from a shooting perspective, Wayne Ellington has been getting it done from the beyond the arc for a long time throughout his NBA career, right? So he'd be able to give this team depth as well. So Mason Plumlee, Wayne Ellington, two options with this trade idea from The Athletic that if they were to come to the Boston Celtics, they would be able to give this team some bench help and some front court depth and some shooting help as this team tries to make a run at the playoffs. So let's pose a question for the audience here, for all the Celtics fans out there. Who would win this proposed trade? Type C for Celtics, type P for Pistons, and let us know which team wins this trade. For me, trade doesn't really move the needle. If I'm the Boston Celtics, the player I'm really centering in on is Nikola Vucevic. If Nikola Vucevic gets traded to the Boston Celtics, and it might take a haul, you might have to part with picks, some young players, maybe Marcus Smart, but if you are serious about making a run for a Larry O.B., bringing in a player like Nikola Vucevic to fill the most glaring need on this roster, which is the forward spot, which is the center spot, depending on if you want to go big or small, it's Vucevic for me, for the Boston Celtics to target in a potential trade. That's the best option. So St. Patrick's Day is coming up in about a week, and if you're going out, you're going to need some St. Patty's themed NBA gear. This is what you have to do. Head to chatsports.com/NBA Green. All types of gear that you can rock on St. Patty's Day, but I got to tell you, looking at those colors, looking at the themes, looking at the logos and the design, you can rock that all year round and look fresh, whether it's St. Patty's Day or not. And again, it's not like this is just for the Boston Celtics because it's green. We got colors in Lakers colors, Warriors colors, as well as Celtics colors, shirts, hats, socks, jerseys, everything you need, free shipping on orders over $19.